Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayam Mudiryet
Tato Jayam Udirye
Shavatam Swakatha Krishna
Shratam Sa Katha Krishna
Punya Shavana Kirtanaha
Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantasto Bhadrani
Vedantastu Bhadrani
Vidunoti Suhasatam
Vidunoti Suhatsatam
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavti Nashtiki.
Bhakti Bhakti Nashtaki
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So today we'll be covering Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10th canto, chapter 11, the childhood pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna. In the previous chapter, we heard how Lord Krishna delivered the Nalkuvera and Manigriva, the two sons of Kuvera. So let's cover the very first verse, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10th canto, chapter 11, verse 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukuvacha
Gopanandadayah Shrutva
Gopananda Daya Shutva
Drumayo Patato Vairavam
Dumyo Patagodham
Tatra Jagamuhu Kurukshetraha
Tatrajuhu Kurukshetra
Nirghata Bhaya Sankitaha.
Nirgaya Bhaya Sankita
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Gopaha,
Gopa,
all the cowherd men,
all the cowherd men,
Nand Adayaha,
Nanda Adayaha,
headed by Nand Maharaj,
headed by Nand Maharaj,
Shutva,
Shutva,
hearing,
hearing,
Drumayoho,
Drumayo,
of the two trees,
of the two trees,
Patatoho,
Patato,
falling down,
falling down,
Ravam,
Ravam,
the high sound,
the high sound,
as terrible as a thunderbolt.
as terrible as a thunderbolt.
Tatra,
Tatra,
there,
there,
on the spot.
on the spot.
Ajagmohu,
Ajagmo
went.
went.
Kuru Shrestha,
Guru Shrestha.
O Maharaj Parikshit.
All,
O Maharaj Parikshit.
O Maharaj Parikshit.
Nirghat Bhaya Shankitaha,
Nirghat Bhaya Shankita.
who were afraid of falling thunderbolts.
Who were afraid of falling thunderbolts.
Translation by His Divine Grace S.B. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami continued, O Maharaj Parikshit, when the Yamalajun trees fell, all the cowherd men in the neighborhood, hearing the fierce sound and fearing thunderbolts, went to the spot. There is no purpose, we'll cover the next verse. There they saw the fallen Yamalajun trees on the ground, but they were bewildered because even though they could directly perceive that the trees had fallen, they could not trace out the cause of their having done so. Purport: considering all the circumstances, had this been done by Kṛṣṇa? He was standing on the spot, and his playmates described that this had been done by him. Had Kṛṣṇa actually done this, or were these merely stories? This was a cause of bewilderment. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadham Vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So here the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna continues, and so does the Damodar Leela. And Damodar Leela, as Acharyas explained, as part of the Ashtakaliya Leela, it is eternal pastime, Nitya Leela. It continuously keeps manifesting time and again in the spiritual world. However, this Damodar Leela, this one is special because it's also merged with occasional pastime, like we covered earlier, Naimittika Leela it's called. And this is only occurring on the Bhumi Vrindavan, so again in the material universe, and it's being carried out by Vishnu and Krishna. So again, it is very important to understand that the Ashtakaliya Leela, the Nitya Leelas, they are eternal pastimes, and they are constantly engaged with Lord Krishna's having this loving exchange with the Vrajvasis. And those are eternal. However, at times to satisfy his devotees and to sometimes annihilate the demons. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. Dharma sansthapanatha, to establish the religion. So in the spiritual world, there is no need to establish religion because everyone is in perfect knowledge. Satchidananda Vigraha. So everyone has perfect knowledge, bliss, and is transcendentally engaged in those pastimes with Lord Krishna, exchanging their love and offering constantly 24/7. So again, there is also no concept of time in the spiritual world. Past, present, and future will perceive this only in this material world, because in the spiritual world, every is constantly focused on the present moment, and they are taking advantage of this present moment. Present moment is said present for a reason, because it's a gift that we have. And if we focus on that gift, engage in serving the Lord, then that is for our welfare. And this will purify us. Srila Prabhupada, when he was, just initially arrived in America and in New York, when he was giving his lectures, sometimes he would start the lecture just to kind of make everyone comfortable. He would say, I may be impure, you may be impure, but the message is pure, because the message is from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, who is all pure. So it will purify us all. I'm paraphrasing it, just adding that, the message is coming from Lord Krishna. So it's very important that the message is pure, because it is being provided to us by absolute truth. And you can imagine, Parikshit Maharaj is hearing this from Shukdev Goswami. And it is around his 5th, 6th day of his fasting for the 7 days. And here he is hearing about this pastime. And he heard as how the Yamalajun trees were uprooted by Lord Kṛṣṇa. And when they fell, there was a huge tumultuous sound, like as if the thunderbolts are falling. Not one thunderbolt, but series of thunderbolts are falling, one after another. And as they fell, the Gopa boys, the young boys, who also saw that the two effulgent personalities, they came out from these trees. And these were none other than the two sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nalkuvera. And we also covered that the anartha nivriti that happens is, so to remove all anarthas, which are the true cause of different kind of offenses that we commit in this material world, we engage in hearing the sweet pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And when we hear these pastimes, they are blessing us with removing some of the anarthas. Anartha. An is that which is not, artha, that which does not have any meaning. So if you were in India and you had pounds, means, it doesn't have meaning. If you go to do shopping with a common person at a grocery store, they would not have any value for that money. Just like in the US, if you come and you try to show them rupees, and this is a couple of brahmacharis who had come from India, that's exactly the dilemma they faced, that sometimes they forget to convert it into dollars and they come to US and now they're taking rupees and they're wondering how to use it. They know that it has become anartha. It doesn't have meaning in US. So with other devotees, they're able to exchange that in dollars, and when they have the dollar, that has artha in the US. So it's very circumstantial. And why do we want to get rid of anarthas? Because unless we get rid of anarthas, we are not able to get an entry into the spiritual world, which also implies that we will not be able to get entry into the pastimes of Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. So to be able to understand the pastimes of Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa, we should hear consistently. And when trying to hear, these pastimes also have the blessings which will also remove the anarthas. So we can really relish the pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So now you may ask, how is it possible that the same Damodar Leela, the tying of Lord Kṛṣṇa by Mother Yashoda, is carried out again and again? So again, just like the Narasimhadev, appearance is also happening in different yugas. Lord Kṛṣṇa appearing once in every day of Brahma, Lord Gauranga appearing once in every day of Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma has 100 years. So you can imagine 100 times 360, that's how many, 36,000 times Lord Kṛṣṇa is appearing in the lifespan of Lord Brahma. So it's very interesting that when we see that Lord Kṛṣṇa is appearing and he is constantly performing the various pastimes, right? So this pastime of tying, so in one of the pastime it is described by the acharyas that as Mother Yashoda, she's getting tired, right? She's getting, other gopis are also going and getting more and more rope from their homes. And then she's tying these ropes, and every time she brings it around Lord Kṛṣṇa, it is shot by 2 fingers. And in this particular time, this is a special pastime because suddenly Mother Yashoda is looking that every time she is doing this and she is falling short by 2 fingers, and everyone has run out of ropes, how to tie Kṛṣṇa. So she just suddenly looks at Lord Kṛṣṇa, who is wearing Kanti Mala. So she takes this Tulsi Mala around Lord Kṛṣṇa's neck and she ties that into the rope. And because she ties this Tulsi Mala in the rope, Tulsi is the greatest devotee of the Lord. So Lord Kṛṣṇa, seeing Mother Yashoda tying Tulsi, he immediately agrees. So in this case, it was not the perspiration of the mother, it was also Tulsi Devi. She is engaging in this service of tying Lord Kṛṣṇa. And so Lord Kṛṣṇa agrees to be tied. And then Mother Yashoda ties. Now somebody could say, well, Mother Yashoda tied Lord Kṛṣṇa, and at that particular time, how is it possible that Lord Kṛṣṇa, when he is pulling Urukula, the grinding wooden mortar, which is stuck behind the trees, why didn't the rope break? Right? The rope had so many knots. Any knot could have been opened. Well, there is a very nice description given by the acharyas that these ropes represented the love of Mother Yashoda, and it is unbreakable. So none of the knots could be broken because it's tied with the love of Mother Yashoda. And so when Lord Krishna pulls, the trees are uprooted. These strong trees that can sustain any storm, any hurricane, any tornado. But these are easily broken when Lord Krishna pulls the urukula. The urukula is wooden, yet at the same time it's tied to Lord Krishna. So this is also given very nicely by Acharyas as like when Varahadev appeared, right? And he retrieved earth from the bottom of the ocean. And at that time, with his potency, he simply landed the earth, Mother Earth, the earth on the top of the waves. So the same earth which was previously at the bottom of the ocean was able to float because Varahadev passed on some of his potencies to earth. So similarly, when Lord Krishna is tied to the ropes, it becomes part of him, he expands, and then the love he's relishing. And that urukula is also tied to him. So all of this becomes as strong in Lord passes his potency that the wooden mortar doesn't fall or break when he's pulling the two trees. So as these cowherd men have come, they have heard this explanation. Some because of their paternal love, because of their vatsalya ras, right? Nanda Maharaj, he doesn't accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because the wave of his love as father of Krishna, he's constantly thinking Krishna is my son. He's just like an ordinary child. He doesn't know what to do and how to behave. So I have to take care of him. So he, in that mood, doesn't even accept. However, the cowherd man, they are constantly reminded that Garga Muni had previously, when he had done the Namkaran ceremony, the name-giving ceremony, the ritual of Lord Krishna and Balaram, at that time he had said that this son is not different from Narayan. But Lord Krishna is the source of Narayan, right? Lord Narayan appears from his body. So he is, showing all these pastimes, killing of different demons, and now, uprooting of these two trees. And he is not even hurt. So that's the main concern of Nand Maharaj. While other cowherd men are in doubt, they're in dilemma. How is it possible? So in this particular case, when the cowherd men, they try to open the knots, it is said that these knots were tied by the love of Mother Yashoda. So none of them are able to open the knots. And at that time, saying this, Nand Maharaj comes forward and he unties Lord Krishna and he picks up Lord Krishna. Now how is it possible? Because he has the same love as Mother Yashoda. He has that Vatsalya ras, right? He's in Vatsalya ras, his father. He is untying and Lord Krishna is, released from the knots and the tying of this, the ropes. And this is exactly when Nand Maharaj picks him up. Now Damodar Leela is where it's ending. It doesn't end yet. Because having heard the tumultuous sound of the falling of the two trees, Mother Yashoda came out running. And when she came out running and she saw this, she was immediately, trying to get Krishna. But then by the time she could come close, Nand Maharaj, after the cowherd men had tried to release him, he had released him and immediately picked him up. And just like a father, what does a father do when he holds his son who has just been, gone through and escaped a calamity? He smells Lord Krishna's hair, on his head, and he keeps him very close in a very loving manner. As Nand Maharaj is holding Krishna very close, and Mother Yashoda wants to take Krishna, and Nand Maharaj, having understood, because previously when he saw Lord Krishna tied, he thought, how could Yashoda be so cruel that she would tie my son Kanha in this manner, right? But then he understood that this is a loving exchange between mother and son. And so he smiled. And now that he is holding Lord Krishna and he sees Mother Yashoda Mai, she is, wanting to have Krishna because she is surprised that because of her all this happened. She is thinking of herself to be blamed. And as she comes, to take Lord Krishna, he points towards her, and then, as if he is complaining with big tears in his eyes, and he is like, pulling himself away, to Nand Maharaj. He's clinching onto Nand Maharaj. And Nand Maharaj is smiling. He's seeing this loving exchange of mother and son, right? Lord Krishna and Yashoda Mai. And he is trying to console Lord Krishna while, with his eyes he is indicating to Mother Yashoda, let him calm down, let him calm down. And as Lord Krishna calms down, and then now Mother Yashoda, she goes into this, shock. She's like, oh, because of all this, my son is has gone through such a huge, he has escaped such a big calamity, and he's not even wanting to come in my lap. And she starts crying, so she has tears in her eyes. And as she has tears in her eyes, Lord Krishna immediately, jumps down from Nand Maharaj's lap and runs towards Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda comes, extending her arms to pick up Lord Krishna. And she picks him up, and again she embraces him, feeds him milk and so forth. And this is where Damodar Leela ends. Such a sweet pastime, where Lord Krishna is reciprocating that he is completely controlled by the gopis. Now it is very important for us to learn that how could, Nalkuvera and Manigriva, the two sons of Kuvera, they were not, they were not able to go back to Godhead, because the curse of Narad was that they will be able to see the Supreme Personality face to face before they return home, to the heavenly planets where they belong to. And these two sons, how could they, having so much qualification, they were sons of Kuvera, they had a high birth, and they were very beautiful. They are described as having effulgent bodies, heavenly bodies. So they were great, they had these great beauty, and they were very handsome and effulgent bodies. And they were the worshippers of Lord Shiva, so much so that they had even become friends of Lord Shiva in a friendly manner. And they were enjoying in the Sarovar, in the lake near Kailash Parvat. So Lord Shiva had given them free entrance. Yet at the same time, how could these same personalities who were, demigods and so forth, and so beautiful, so rich, and so knowledgeable, they were knowledgeable of the Vedas, so they knew Vedas and they knew the scriptures and so forth, yet at the same time they could fall down, that they would be engaged in loitering with the various apsaras in the Sarovar, near Kailash, in Mandakini river, they would be doing this. So Mandakini is Ganges, another name for Mother Ganges. So they were in Ganges river, and they were, with these apsaras. Queen Kunti in her prayers revealed this secret. Janmeshwarya Shutashir Bhir Edhamana Madha Puman Neva Hatte Abhitatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. Janma, high birth. Aishwarya, opulence, having riches and being very famous. Shruta, Shruta is Shruti, means again by Shruti we accept knowledge. So also there is Shruti Shastra and Smriti Shastra. Shruta Shibhir, so being very highly knowledgeable is Shruta. Shibhir is very beautiful. These two had, effulgent bodies, heavenly bodies. So again, as people on heavenly planets have, they have very beautiful bodies. So they had all these qualities, Edavana Madha Purāṇa. So again, all these people, they cannot approach Lord Krishna. Why? Because of all these high birth, being very beautiful, being very famous, very rich, and being very knowledgeable. People get pride, mother. They become proud. And pride cometh before fall. So because they had become proud, they had fallen down to the state that they were enjoying with women, and they were drinking wine. So, Srila Prabhupada explains, wine and women becomes the attractive, when demigod worshippers are seeking sense gratification, and they have all these facilities, they become proud. And in pride, they engage with enjoying wine and women and so much. So again, just seeking sense gratification. And she's explaining, they cannot approach you with sincere feelings. So Queen Kunti is expressing this when Lord Krishna is about to leave after the, Kurukshetra battle is over, after King Yudhishthira had been coronated and so forth. and Lord Krishna was returning to Dwarka at that time. Queen Kunti's prayers, they are amazing prayers, where she's expressing that means again, none of these qualities are, sufficient for someone to approach you in the right mood, because the right mood is of humility. So when we do Harinam, we are doing it for the satisfaction of the Lord, of course. And when we are trying to satisfy Lord Hrishikesha, who is the master of the senses, our senses are automatically satisfied. So this is the lesson we learned from that previous chapter. And in this chapter, again, we are going to continue the Damodar Leela, where, Nand Maharaj releases Lord Krishna. And as a father, he picks up Lord Krishna, he's embracing Lord Krishna. Mother Yashoda comes, and Lord Krishna is complaining to Nand Maharaj about Mother Yashoda. And I can relate to it because when, my son, my oldest son, was just, about a year old. At that time, I happened to have gone on a, because of my job, I had gone out of town on a seminar, to attend a seminar. And when I returned, and my son saw me, at that time, he was doing the other way in this case. He was complaining about my wife, and he wanted to come to my lap. He was saying, he was missing me. So in this particular case, my son was missing me, so he wanted to get into my lap, and he was, crying out, and he was, looking at my wife, and he was like, in a way complaining that Dad, Mom did not take good care of me. And I missed you so much, she did not let me come to you. Wherever you were gone, I wanted to come with you. That was his expression. So sometimes, kids, they show us, and then when we hear these pastimes, we are able to relate that here, Lord Krishna is complaining about Mother Yashoda to Nand Maharaj with his expressions. And that is so hurting, Miss Mother Yashoda. So her love is getting deeper and deeper when she's seeing Krishna in this form. And as tears appear in her eyes, Lord Krishna cannot bear that. He immediately jumps down from Nand Maharaj's lap and runs toward Mother Yashoda, extending his arms, and Mother Yashoda runs towards Lord Krishna and then picks him up. And then, again, purification is being performed. Mother Yashoda immediately asks for Brahmanas. They come, chant the mantras. Lord Krishna is giving bath. So there's an elaborate, because of mother's love, she is doing those. But then she's doing it with the right spirit, and everyone is thinking at this particular time. People who are in dilemma, they are confused. Is it Krishna? Because he's known to be, means again, Gargamuni revealed that he is going to be same as Narayan, or is it some other demigod? So there are different kind of disturbances that are happening. And at that time, they become concerned that all these demons are appearing, these falling of the trees, but by the blessing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna is saved. So that's why people are more engaging. They are more engaging in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, not realizing that the Lord is the cause. Ete chams kalapum sa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. So it is revealed in the first canto itself that all these incarnations which are in the third chapter of first canto described, then Sutta Goswami revealed to the sages at Naimisharanya headed by Shaunaka Rishi that all these personalities are just expansions, like portions or plenary portions of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna to Bhagwan Swayam. So this is how, and Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai are constantly thinking the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Krishna, is just their child. And in this way, Krishna is completely under the control of gopis. Now in this particular chapter, next few verses are focused on describing Lord Krishna's pastimes in Ashtakalya Leela, which are eternal pastimes. So even the neighboring jungles, they were like Aborigine girls, and the tribes, they were living near Gokul. And so in these places, there were many Aborigine girls. They would take things to sell and get some grains in exchange. So they would go to the forest and pick up fruits and they would collect these fruits in basket, and they would come to different villages. So they would come to Gokul also, and they would try to sell. So there was one such fruit lady, she had a basket full of fruits, and they would try to barter. So instead of money, they would barter for grains, they would barter for clothes, because those are the necessary things. Before money got introduced, now in my MBA course, my economics teacher, he was telling about all these aspects as how money came into being. But in short, prior to money being introduced, people were just bartering generally. I'll give you this, you give me that. So as farmers, as Manija, Rishi, Goriksha, so again those, farming, irrigation and farming, and then taking care of the cows. These were the two main traits of Nand Maharaj. So he had a lot of grain, and the cowherd men also had grains, and then they had milk. So they would come to barter, to exchange, as trade. And one such lady had come with a basket full of fruits to Nand Maharaj's home, and she was asking, if somebody would like to barter, she has fruits. And when Lord Kṛṣṇa, he saw her, so just as to barter, as he has seen, it is described in this particular verse, that as he had seen others barter, so he had taken some rice grains. And as he was walking towards this lady seeing a baby, boy, just walking towards her with those, little unstable feet as he is walking, and so beautiful, Sham Sundar, right? Lord is all attractive. Kṛṣṇa means all attractive. As he's walking, most of the rice grains had actually fallen out of his hand. He only had a few grains, and so she picked up, a handful of fruits, and so she accepted whatever little grain, and she handed him a handful of fruits. And Lord Kṛṣṇa taking that fruit, coming back. So everyone's watching this pastime. And when she gives it to Lord Kṛṣṇa, her basket becomes full of jewels. So it's filled with jewels, because when somebody offers Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakta Prayachati Tadham Bhakta Upritam Ashnami Prayatatmana. In this verse, it is said Patra Pushpa Phalam Toyam. So again, if somebody simply offer patra, leaf, pushpa, a flower, phal, a fruit, or toyam, water, anybody can offer these four basic things. But in this verse, the most important aspect is not that they are offering it. The word bhakta and that love comes twice. Patam pushpam phalam toyam yume bhakta paranshati. It's devotion, right? Tadhami, and then again a bhakta, devotee offers it. So again the word is representing devotion and love. With that it is offered. So that's Lord is bhavgrahi janadana. He's looking to taste the essence, so again, of the love with which we are offering. Essence also called rasa. So he's seeking that. He's not just looking for material things. He has everything. He's Atmaram. He's completely self-satisfied. What can he offer? Bhoktaram yagatapsam sarvalok maheshwaram. He is the proprietor of all the material and spiritual universes. What can he offer him? Everything already belongs to him. But the only thing Srila Prabhupada said, what is the value of your things? But when you offer Kṛṣṇa, this is of importance, because this is what Kṛṣṇa is looking for. So here you offer it with love. So when she offers it, she is completely overflowing with love for Lord Kṛṣṇa as she is offering these fruits. And Lord Kṛṣṇa, he takes these fruits from her, and so he reciprocates by filling her basket full with jewels, with which she can get much more than what she was giving. So when we take one step towards Kṛṣṇa, Acharya is explaining, he takes 10 steps towards us. And our steps are puny, right? Even if you try to jump over to take that step, it's still not that big. But think of Lord Kṛṣṇa's steps. In first step, he covered the whole of earth. The second step, he covered to the very end of universe, and Ganges flew in. So we have to understand that our steps are puny, but Lord Krishna's steps are amazing. So in 10 steps, he takes towards, for a single step we take towards him. So from that particular perspective, when we offer something to the Lord, we should offer it filled with love, with full surrender at Lord Krishna. When we do Harinam, and when chant the holy name of the Lord, it should be done with full devotion, constantly hearing what we are speaking. So we should make an attempt to speak it nicely, very clearly, and also try to hear what we are singing. And that's how the devotional service simply starts, with the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in this chapter, the Ashtakarya Leela, the 8 times of the day, all the pastimes that are being carried out in the spiritual world are being revealed to us. They are revealed to us in few verses, but that is of essence. Like how Lord Krishna is constantly having this loving exchange with the Vrajvasis, and he's in complete control by the gopis. So much so that some of the pastimes are described that sometimes the gopis would say, "Oh Krishna, dance for us and I will give you this sweet meat," right? The sweets that was there. So here, again that's the word used in the translation by Srila Prabhupada, sweet meat. Basically it's representing different kind of sweets, offerings. And when Lord Krishna, he's looking, oh, I'll get this sweet, so I will dance. So they are able to make Krishna dance as a baby. And sometimes they are saying, oh Krishna, why don't you sing and I'll give you sweets. And at that time Lord Krishna is singing. And then the gopis are saying, oh Krishna, bring this, oh Krishna, bring that. And he's doing all that stuff. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who makes everyone dance. Everyone is dancing constantly to satisfy him. And so he is dancing on the words of the gopis, relishing, that sweet pastime. He is bringing whatever they are asking him to bring. And sometimes he is showing as if he cannot even lift. It is said that, Sankarshan, Vasuki, on his head, he is carrying the whole universe as if it's the weight of a sesame seed. So he doesn't even feel the weight of the universe. But here, Lord Krishna, he is showing at times when they are asking to pick something which, could be heavy for a baby, he is showing that he cannot lift it. But then he would set straight, pat on his arm that he has sufficient strength, he has enough strength to pick that up, and again try. And he's showing that he's going to pick it up, but he's making them smile, he's making them laugh, and they are relishing these pastimes with the Lord. And sometimes Mother Yashoda would ask him to bring the Padukai of Nand Maharaj, and Lord Krishna would pick up those Padukai and put it on his head. Now this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is showing us how to respect our parents. He is giving this by his own example, that even as a baby, he knew that Nand Maharaj is my father and how father should be respected. He picks up the Paduka and puts it on his head as he brings them. And Nand Maharaj taking them, he's not so much worried about his shoes, the Paduka. Rather he's, expressing his love by immediately, picking Krishna again in his lap and constantly, loving him and, embracing him. So this is the sweet pastime. Sometimes when Krishna and Balaram, they would go to play with their playmates. And as they are playing with their playmates, they would forget about time, and sometimes the plays are when you are sporting, and sports are normally competitive in nature. So you don't come to enough time because you are constantly looking, and I'm also, as volunteer, coach kids in soccer, hockey as well, and basketball and football. So as I'm teaching the kids, and sometimes it's so interesting that the first hour of practice and games and sessions, I become engaged with them. Sometimes I lose myself because it's so wonderful to see kids playing together and having this competitive mode, yet at the same time trying to learn the rules of the game and playing it properly. So I have seen kids getting lost. For 1 hour practice, it has easily gone to 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So similarly, Lord Krishna and Balaram, when they are playing in this competitive mood, and they are playing, they are sometimes accepting defeat as well. Like Sridham, he would, challenge Krishna for wrestling and he would defeat him. And Sridhama was, one of the cowherd boy, and he would easily be able to defeat. So it's very interesting when we hear about Kansavad, the killing of Kansa, King Kansa. At that time, Sridhama said, he cannot be Krishna, he's someone else. Why? Because I can easily defeat Krishna. And this Krishna, this boy seems to have wrestled with these wrestlers, Charun, Mushtika, these are great wrestlers. And then he killed Kansa. This cannot be Krishna. This is some other personality. And at that time, in the same arena, Sridhama and Krishna, they fight. And then Sridhama is able to defeat Krishna. And Krishna accepts defeat. And at that time, Sridhama says, okay, this is Krishna. So this is a loving pastime, where the cowherd boys are playing with Krishna. People are, all their lives, the yogis are constantly aspiring to see Krishna. But they are not able to see. And all the Vrajvasis, they are able to directly have loving exchanges with Krishna. And in Uddhav Gita, Uddhav is revealing, he's asking Lord Krishna that in this material world, everyone is tormented by the three modes of material nature. Sattva-guna, which is mode of goodness, Rajaguna, the mode of passion, and Tamoguna, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. And under the influence of these three modes of material nature, everyone is acting just like a puppet in their hands, right? Maya, the material energy. And I don't see, any way for them to escape unless they take shelter of your lotus feet. And your lotus feet are just like the umbrella which throws in very nice, droplets of fragrant water, it sprinkles on them. So when you have an umbrella, you save yourself from the rain. But if there is very nice droplets of, fragrant spray happening from that umbrella, it's very nice. And this was given to Prithu Maharaj when he was coronated as king. And so that's being also referred here, because this example that Uddhava is expressing is because he is a disciple of Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods. And he is remembering that just like Prithu Maharaj received this umbrella from, I believe, wind god, so he's Varun, one of the demigods, had offered this umbrella to Prithu Maharaj. So he's thinking of that Lord Krishna's feet are just like those lotus feet. I'm not able to see the time. Hare Krishna. So similarly, here, unless one takes to the pure devotional service, one is not able to have an entry into the spiritual world. And here, Lord Krishna is showing us how he is completely under the control of the gopis and the cowherd men and the cowherd boys. And they are getting this because of the love they see of Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. It is contagious, right? So yes, hatred may be contagious, diseases may be contagious, but what we are really seeking is this contagious love for Lord Shri Krishna. Because all these cowherd men and ladies, in Gokul had gone this love because they were serving Nand Maharaj, who is the king of the Braj Bhumi, and then Mother Yashoda, who is the queen. And they are seeing their love, and so they are infected with this love. They are constantly thinking of Krishna. And Lord Krishna, he reveals in response to Uddhav, Na sadhyati mam yogo, na sankyam dharma uddhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago, yatha bhaktir mamorjita. So Lord Krishna is revealing to Uddhav, in the 11th canto it appears, that the unalloyed devotional service is the only means to achieve me. Na sadhyati mam yogo. I cannot be controlled by what? Yoga, the Ashtanga yoga process. And as the yogis are performing yam, niyam, pranayam, asan, pratyahara, and so forth, the 8-step processes, finally coming to samadhi. That is not sufficient to control Lord Kṛṣṇa. He cannot be brought under control by that. Not that, even Sankhyam, the Sankhya philosophy that we heard from Lord Kapil Dev when he is, teaching the Sankhya philosophy to his mother Devavati. Even that Sankhya philosophy is not sufficient to control Lord Kṛṣṇa. Not even Dharma, the performers of various pious activities, are sufficient to control Lord Kṛṣṇa. Swadhyayas, the study of, the Vedic study, the Vedic scriptures, even that is not sufficient. Vedesh durlabham adurlabham atma bhakta. So when in Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma is praying, he is revealing that one who is studying the Vedas, durlabham, it is very difficult to approach Lord. Forget about controlling the Lord, even approaching Lord is very difficult. Adurlabham, while it is not that difficult, Atma Bhakta, by the devotees who are serving him with devotion. So Lord can easily be approached by one who is serving with devotion. Yatha bhaktir mamorjita. So one who is engaged in serving me with devotion, he can control me. And this has been exemplified by the Vrajvasis. How the gopis are able to control Lord Kṛṣṇa, how Nandmava and Yashoda Mai are able to control Lord Kṛṣṇa, and he is completely under their control. And so, as this pastime continues, the cowherd men, they gather together in the courtyard of Nand Maharaj. And Upananda, he is a very elderly personality, and he provides this suggestion that it is going to be very difficult because there are constant disturbances, right? Even in Mahavan they heard about some disturbances. And so based on this, he suggests that we should go to Vrindavan. There is a place called Vrindavan, and that is, very nice, and it is just suitable for us. So at that time, Mother Yashoda, and again, all the cowherd men, they agreed. They said, yes, we should do this. And all the cowherd men, they decide that without further ado, without further delay, let's just, load all our belongings on the, bullock carts, and we will have them carried over. So it is very nicely described as how all the ladies, they also rode on the bullock carts. On the Purohits, they were also, and the cowherd men, they picked up their bows and arrows. And Srila Prabhupada says that yes, these are farmers, but they knew exactly how to protect their family. And they're blowing bugles as this whole caravan is heading towards Vrindavan. And Yashoda Mai and Rohini Mata, they're picking up Kṛṣṇa and Balaram in their lap, and they're, riding these bullock carts. And all these ladies are singing the glories of the childhood pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa as this caravan progresses from Gokul to Vrindavan. And there's not enough time to describe as how this transition also happens, because absolute truth is unchangeable, Lord Kṛṣṇa reveals. And how is it possible that Lord Kṛṣṇa is growing from, baby to toddler to youth to, and to the adolescent phase. And he is said to be Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam, and he's Navi Yauvanam. So he's in adolescent phase in this particular verse is described. And as an adolescent, he is constantly in that form. So it's in Vrindavan. So when Lord Kṛṣṇa hears, we are going to Vrindavan, so this is Vrindavan pastimes are going to start. And Vrindavanam Parityajya Padam Ekam Na Gacchati. So Lord Kṛṣṇa never take a step outside Vrindavan. So it is the adolescent, the original personality of Godhead, who also appears as a baby, who also appears as a toddler, who also appears as, growing youth. So he is the one who never leaves Vrindavan for a moment. So Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balaram are looking at each other and they're smiling that now that pastime will start. And in Vrindavan as they go, this is where Lord Kṛṣṇa, in the very few days, so again they have grown enough to start taking the calves out for care. So when they take the calves out, in the very beginning itself, there is another demon, and Kamsa, Vatsasur, he comes and he takes the form of a calf. And Krishna recognizes and tells, from his eyes, he signals to Balaram that, oh, see this demon who has appeared as calf is mixing with our calves. So Krishna, unknowingly, as if he doesn't know that this is a demon, goes to this calf and picks, holds him from his hind limbs and throws him on top of a tree. And the demon loses its life. And there is a two purpose, like this is namatically, occasional pastime that happens here only. In the spiritual world, there is Ashtakali Lila going on. So as Krishna does this, the fruits fall from the trees, and now that the demon is dead, all the cowherdmen says, oh Krishna, very nice, very good, and the demigods are showering flowers. Now somebody could say, who was this demon? So this demon, according to Garg Samhita, in his last birth, he was Pramila, the son of Muru. So he was a demon in his previous birth also, and he had conquered the demigods in battle. And once he entered sage Vashishta's ashram and saw Vashishta's cow named Nandini. So Pramila wanted this Nandini cow, Rishi Vashishta, sage Vashishta. So he disguised himself as a Brahman and tried to beg her. The cow, having recognized her, spoke to him, saying that you are a demon in disguise. For this offense, you have to appeal as a calf. Pramila then surrendered to Vashishta, sage Vashishta, and begged for mercy. And at that time, sage Vashishta said that after taking birth as a calf, he would be liberated by the Lord. So when he appears as a calf, Lord Krishna liberates him. And when Krishna doesn't kill, it's Vishnu and Krishna kills. And when he is killed by Vishnu and Krishna, at that time he is able to go back to Godhead. Now this has various points, we'll cover some of those in the next chapter. And then there is this demon, the stork, also said to be in the form of a duck, Bakasur. Bakasur is also brother of Putana. And his other brother is Aghasur, which will happen later on, who will be killed later on by the Lord. So Bakasur has even defeated demigods in the form of this, he had a duck-like body and a stork-like sharp beaks. And he was killed as well. So once it just so happened that they were at the lake, and Bakasur just engulfed Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna means again, seeing this, Balaram, who knows all the potencies of Lord Krishna, all the cowherd boys, they were, all these boys, they literally fainted as if their life has been taken away, seeing this. Yet at the same time, Lord Krishna became as hot as fire. So immediately Bakasur, threw him out again from his neck because he had this burning sensation in his neck. And so as Lord Krishna, and there is a great fight ensued, and Lord Krishna simply, bifurcated his beaks. So he, and just like a child, breaks a straw, just like that, and thus killing this demon. And at that time, the demigods who were tormented by this demon showered flowers, and kettle drums were, played, and songs were being sung. And the cowherd boys, they were amazed looking at all these. So when they went back home in the evening, after returning home, they were singing these glories, and all the ladies of Vrindavan and the cowherd men, they were all amazed. Again in doubt, because he had been said to be same as Narayan, but he was amazed. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada says in purport that Lord Krishna, various demons were being sent by Kansa, and these were being killed. And according to Brahma Vaivat Purāṇa, Bakasur was, in his last life, he was Suhotra, a Gandharva disciple of Durvasa Muni, a disciple of such a great personality. And along with his three brothers, who came later as Pralamba and Keshi, he had performed austerities at Pushkar Tirth. Now Pushkar Tirth is, Lord Shiva's reign. So once the three of them, they were picking lotuses at the celestial lake called Chitra Sarovar for offering to Lord Krishna. So they were Lord Krishna's devotee. And but they were arrested by Lord Shiva's servants, So Lord Shiva's servants, they arrested him and they brought him them to Kailash. And at that time, they told that they want to take these flowers, these lotus flowers, for Lord Krishna's worship. And Lord Shiva revealed to them that he had given his words to Mother Parvati, that if anybody takes any lotus flower from Chitra Sarovar, he would have to curse them because Chitrasarova had exactly 100,000 flowers. And Mother Parvati had taken this vow to offer 1,000 flowers for next 100 days to Lord Krishna. So now that she is offering 1,000 flowers every day, now that they have taken these flowers, they would not be sufficient. So because they have picked these flowers from the Chitra Sarova, they received this curse. However, being compassionate, seeing that these are the devotees of Lord Krishna, he tells them that in their next birth, when they appear as demons, they will be delivered by Lord Krishna himself. And so these demons, Bakasura was in this particular case delivered by Lord Krishna, and he is able to go back home, back to Godhead. So Paritranaya Sadhunam happens in a subtle manner because he is a devotee of Lord Krishna from his previous birth. Vinashaya Chadushkritam, he is dushta in this particular birth because he is fighting with the demigods and defeating them and being, tormenting all the nearby residents, and thus delivered by Lord Krishna. And Vishnu and Krishna kills the body of Bakasura, and the soul goes back home, back to Godhead by Lord Krishna's mercy. So this is where this chapter ends, and everyone is singing glories of Lord Krishna and describing his wonderful pastimes. And this is where we learn that only by taking to devotional service we can take shelter. By taking shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, we can have some hope to go back home, back to Godhead. And one of the important lessons in this chapter, Srila Prabhupada says, is that when there are various kinds of disturbances, how do we overcome these disturbances? Just by taking to devotional service, which starts simply by chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. This is where the chapter ends. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Kori Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.